Good afternoon, champions, and welcome to the Idle Champions weekly live stream. My name is Dylan, and I am coming to you live from the cold and sunny capital of British Columbia, Victoria, and yeah, currently people here are just really angry about cherry blossom trees. Look it up. So first, I would like to thank D&D for hosting us on the official Twitch. It is and will always be an honor to be here. And I'd also like to give a huge thanks and a round of shout-outs to the awesome folks who make this happen. Clive and Erica on our end today, helping with moderation across Twitch and Mixer. And I believe, yes, that's Lauren in chat. Oh, well, crazy. Thank you. You guys are all awesome. Second, this doesn't sound quite right to me. I'd also like to offer a bit of an apology, as Vivid Vivka will not be joining us this week due to a scheduling conflict. She will, however, be joining us next week for our show on March 7th to talk about all things Black Viper and D&D. And so, because of this, we are also instead doing an art stream starting later this stream today. Art stream starting later this stream today. Oh, that could have been done better. And our guest is none other than to Art Monkey Cat, who might be in chat right now or is busy working, but will be joining us in a little bit, and we'll be doing some live drawing, which is always fun. In the meantime, what would everybody like to know? I'm here. Oh, it looks like I haven't picked a specialization for Deacon, though. Where did I put that controller? I think I dropped it. There we go. All right. Plunk. So I have unlocked the Black Viper, and she is in my formation. And more bards. So I want Hitch or Volanya right now. Volanya. Who doesn't want Satine in their party at any given point? So and then I probably want to move Volanya up, or Vanya up to here. Cool. All right, so just kind of trucking away in the Black Viper free play here, and then I will take questions if you have questions. Are there any questions you would like to ask? Please do, because I'm here. I'm here for the next 2 hours, so if you have questions, it's a good time. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, there's so much on the go. Obviously, we had a bit of a, things happen when you're trying to release content data, and so yesterday we were hoping to get Fleet's Wake 2 out, and we delayed it until this morning. But it will stick around for an additional day, so it'll end on Tuesday the 12th instead of Monday the 11th. So nobody will miss out on time to play. Let's see. Oh, the Neronex. Is Black Viper competitive with currently meta DPS like Krond, Birdsong, and Archon? So funny you should ask that. I have yet to play the Black Viper on live. I'm just doing that now for the first time. I did play test her a little bit earlier this week on Monday or Tuesday, and she was too competitive with Kron, Birdsong, and Archon, and has since seen some adjustments to make things work, and she should be fair. Now, she's a long-term investment as a DPS champion, because she gets better the more runs you do collecting red gems. And I mean, once you've collected enough gems to increase the buffing potential of your warlocks and rangers, she really starts to shine. Before that point, she's decent, but yeah, she has growth potential. She's awesome. I see a lot of people asking about Nayeli. I'm not quite sure what you're talking about. I mean, my Nayeli is right here. She's just at the front of my formation. Like, what's the big idea? Oh, you're wondering why she looks like that. It's a very good question. One that I can address next week, but not yet. Though people who are wondering about who the next skin is for. Surprise! It's for Nayeli. But that will be, yeah, well, I'll be talking more about that next week. We have a plan, some announcements, some things we want to talk about around it. So, yeah. Pretty cool, huh? Adam threw it together. She looks pretty neat. She's got one of her items hanging off her belt. She's got, You know, she's got a cloak, she's got a bunch of extra armor, she's got like these glowing tattoos. It's, yeah, awesome job all around. Let's see, Garwar, question, with Ack Inc. getting its own official D&D book, will there be official Ack Inc. content in Idle Champions as well? That's a very, very good question that I cannot talk about. What I can say is that thus far we have 2 very important characters from Ack Inc., the C team, in our game, and you can safely expect to see more. That's what I can say. Colette, any chance of getting rewards other than damage percentage increases for achievements, such as champion skins? I have to be careful how I phrase this. There's always a chance it could be something else. Currently, we are looking at developing systems that improve and expand upon our endgame play. And by endgame, I mean, you know, for players who have completed all the adventures and variants, like what do you do other than grind gems? We are building more things for you to do. More than that, I can't say yet. Yeah. Dave Modi, what are the ranger positional buffs? Are there any ranger buffers? Funny you should ask that. As part of Fleet's Wake, you can unlock a ranger champion by the name of Zorbu, who is, I mean, he swaps with Archon and Azaka, so maybe some players aren't used to using him. But yeah, he's slot 12, and he buffs adjacent dexterity champions, which, you know, isn't ideal in every lineup. Although we did tweak him slightly for this event to bring him more in line with the other slot 12 champions. But for a champion like the Black Viper, he may be really good because she can greatly improve upon that buff as it's incoming. So something to consider as the meta shifts and evolves. I haven't had enough chance to play with Black Viper yet to really completely know what the ideal, most optimized formation is for her. But yeah, Zorbu is a ranger buffer. Mars, as soft caps increase for champions over time, can we expect career red gem buff cap for Black Viper to increase as well? It's a bit early to answer that question because like while we did play test Black Viper and we did make adjustments to her design as like almost right up into the lead up of her launch, it's still too early to see whether or not we want to do that. We need to observe the Black Viper in its natural habitat, you know, snatching, you know, pickpocketing and burglaring and jewel thieving for a time before we can decide whether or not we need to make those kinds of increases. And oh sweet, check it out, red gem. That's cool. I mean, they remind me of the rupees from Zelda, but you know, that's cool. Cool. Cat Sith, I would love a battle pass system for this game. It would be a great way to earn skin and champions. That's really valuable feedback, Cat Sith. It's an interesting thing to bring up. Not because we're doing that. We have, you know, any adjustment to the way that the game is delivered to players is something we would take a lot of very careful consideration over. But like just thinking off the top of my head, as a player, not as somebody who works at Codename, you know, battle passes are really cool for some games. You know, like if you're a Fortnite player, the battle pass system is awesome, and it gives you an incentive to play and a reason to, like, you know, invest a bit and earn a lot over the course of the you know, each season if you're into it, and it's very cool. I don't know if that's something that we're going to approach for us, but it's a possibility. So yeah, let's see, Ted Faster. So Dylan, can you tell us anything about what happened that delayed the event? I cannot. Yeah, it's not my place to say. Let's just say that sometimes the event gets delayed. We find last-minute things that you know, need to be addressed immediately. And one of the things is just to give a little bit more context on why we delay something, not necessarily why we delayed Fleet's Wake 2. We don't like releasing events too late in our workday because we don't like the idea of releasing events and then like wrapping up what we're working on, going home, and then possibly having something, you know, really negative happen to players, either like something breaks or, you know, some widespread bug or whatever. And so it's important to us, if we start to reach early mid-afternoon, that we're probably going to delay the event into the next morning, just in case, because we want to be present for the immediate hours when all the players log on and start playing it. So you know, it's a quality of life thing. And on the note of quality of life, because players ask us about it with some frequency, we have some significant quality of life changes planned for an upcoming update following this event. And I will be bringing either David or Justin or Chris or some combination of them, drag them kicking and screaming into the streaming closet to, start talking about what these quality of life changes are going to look like. All the full list of changes for what's coming are not locked in yet, so it's definitely too early to talk about it, but that is what we're working on. It's something that players have asked us for with some frequency since the game came out, and we are finally in a position to be putting more into that, so we're excited to be working on it. Izan, will there be an option for non-gamepad users to play under this UI in the future? Probably not. However, we are planning in the Blizzard TM sense, or the Valve TM sense. We are planning to do an overhaul of the mouse and keyboard interface, which would also be the tablet player interface, to utilize the art assets created for the gamepad UI for console and gamepad users. Just because, these portraits that Adam and Alexis did are gorgeous, and we want to be featuring them. And I'm gonna swap him. Oh wait, sorry, I gotta move Tyrrell. They're gorgeous, and we wanna feature it more. And it's we learned a lot as we overhauled the interface for gamepad and console players. So we definitely want to take those lessons back and improve upon the interface that we have for tablet and mouse and keyboard players on Steam. What was the next question? Sorry, I have so many windows up. One of these days, I will actually take a cell phone shot of everything that I'm looking at to give viewers an idea of how divided my attention can be, and you will understand how I can be so scattered on screen sometimes. But so no, we probably won't be making it so that non-gamepad users can use the gamepad UI. However, we do plan to overhaul the mouse and keyboard UI in the future. It's a very time-consuming thing to work on, so don't expect it soon. I would be very surprised personally if we saw it before the end of this year. It's a long-term thing, but we do want to do it. It is on our minds, but we just have some other major features of the game and important characters and events and other things planned for the rest of this year that are taking up our focus. Arkin Sunseeker, welcome, Arkin. Had anyone looked into the overnight game crashes players have been reporting? So unless players are reporting it with some detail, and I need to nudge Justin again, because he did say he was going to put together a checklist for what players should be, in general, what players should be considering in order to submit a bug report in the way that would help us the most. But unless players are reporting them, these overnight crashes, whatever it is that happens, we don't necessarily know about them. So just off the top of my head. But yeah, anything that gets reported gets looked into. It'll be either David or Peter, in most cases, who will open up the support ticket and look into it, and and aim to address the issue. Skullcap 70. Was the drop rate on shiny potions changed recently? So if you're referring to potions of polish, they don't drop. There are a couple ways in which you can get potions of polish. You can get them, and it's all related to purchases. So you can get a potion of polish if you replace a shiny equipment card with a golden equipment card. You'll get refunded a free potion of polish into your inventory when you do that. And some purchases will include a potion of polish as part of the purchase. That's it. They don't. There's no drop rate associated with them. Now, if you're referring to the drop rate of shiny equipment cards in in just either gold chests or silver chests, it's a 0.1% chance, just flat across all things, all RNG, no pity timer. It just, they're rare. Let's see. Rune POTF. Oh, Shifty 3000. Pay to win. Pay to win what, buddy? Like, what are you winning if you're paying for your experience? I mean, there are players like like Mars, Storyteller Mars in chat, who is a free-to-play player who completes all the content in the game. So, I mean, if your aim is to complete everything, you can do that for free if you wish. So, I don't know. I disagree with pay to win in this instance. Now, if we were selling power that allowed you to, compete at a higher level against other players, then yeah, that would be paying to win something. But this is a single-player game. Like, the only person you're competing with is yourself. So. Maroon POTF. Hey, can I ask about switching accounts between platforms? Playing the same account on PC and mobile, etc. When will it be possible, if ever? It probably won't be. And the reason for that is, in order to be on all the platforms that we're on, that's a relationship with Google to be on the Play Store for Android devices. That's a relationship with Apple to be on iPad devices. That's a relationship with Valve and through Steam to be on PC and Mac, and that's a relationship with Sony to be on PlayStation 4. Cross-platform play is something that really big companies and titles that have a lot more finance behind it and involved can maybe pull off between those companies because they don't necessarily like to coexist. But it's really unlikely that we will be able to do any kind of cross-platform play. So, yeah, it's not an ideal answer, but I mean we're not Blizzard or Epic. I mean, heck, I think Fortnite is the only game that is on both PS4 and Xbox with cross-platform play. So yeah, it's a thing. Like PlayStation 4, they don't, from what I can tell, just based on what I read in the news, they don't seem to want to probably because of how successful of a console generation this version of PlayStation is having versus Microsoft's Xbox. But everything's always in flux. It could change. Mr. Savarius, can you tell us anything about what you will do to my boy Jarlaxle in the upcoming Core Champion changes? Let me think for a moment. So, when we first talked about doing a Core Champion update, the two champions we initially flagged for complete reworks were Delina and Jarlaxle, both of whom we feel do not represent their character identity well in our game. Delina is a powerful wild mage. I mean, it's wild, so it's her outcomes aren't always intended, but like she's definitely a very powerful mage, and she pulls off some really awesome stuff in the Heroes of Baldur's Gate comics, which you should all read, because Jim Zub is a friend and he's awesome, and Max Dunbar is a friend and he's awesome, and they made some really cool stuff. But anyways, so we want Delina to be more cool. I mean, she'll still be a wild mage, so that we'll have to represent that somehow, but we definitely need to improve her. And then Jarlaxle, how we approach designing champions for slot 4 has changed. And Jarlaxle right now is currently, quite frankly, outclassed by both Ishii and Paulton, and I mean, it's Jarlaxle. I mean, he's like a CR 15 super rogue who can attune to 5 items and stuff in the Waterdeep Dragon Heist book. Like, he's crazy badass. He has a ton of history. He's done tons of cool stuff. He deserves to be represented in a more legendary way. So after identifying them right off the bat for reworks for the Core Champion update, and then also eventually flagging Jamila and Minsk for updates as well, just because we feel we could do them better. That's kind of where we're at. Like, we have a whole bunch of proposed ideas around those characters, including Jarlaxle, but nothing is locked in. So I can't really talk about any of it because nothing related to it is finalized. It's very much in flux. Like, that's what Chris is probably working on right now, knowing Chris. Anything to not do an artist's art list on time. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, he's working on it, and I did throw together an idea for a rework of Jarlaxle at Chris and Justin. I don't know if they'll use any of the ideas from it, but I was very much focusing on the fact that he is the secret lord of Luskan and the leader of Brigandarth. Brigandarth? I'm probably pronouncing it wrong again. So dude's like a secret lord and a pirate king, basically, and he should be in game, I think. So I threw together a bunch of design ideas around those concepts. We will see what sticks. I hope that answers your question at least partially, Mr. Severius, but yeah. Storyteller Mars, just thinking about art since Cat's coming on later. Any plans for cute new distractions coming? That's a great question. I have no idea. I'm going to make a note about that, and I mean, we can ask Cat again when she gets here. Or I can pass it on to Chris and be like, hey, is that happening? Colette. When redoing the UI, can you use a toggle for the art, please? What do you mean, Colette? I'm not sure about what toggle for the art means. Like, you want to be able to switch between the new portraits and the character model versions that we use? Is that what you're asking? I'm not sure I understand that. I don't want to misanswer it. While I wait for you to respond to that, Colette, I'll move on to the next one. R. Warehall. Just want to say that this new Year 2 formation is just evil. Not sure how best to deal with it. So hard to shield and heal and keep DPS up. Not a complaint, though. More of a challenge. It is a challenge. That would all be Chris and Justin. They do the adventure design, and it's a weird formation. I'm not sure that what I'm currently doing is optimal. Certainly Calliope, like, I'm pretty sure you need like adjacencies in order for her to be shielding champions in front of her. But I think that Celeste might be in a good slot in mine. I don't know. This is my first pass. I haven't really looked at this much yet, so I'm just gonna buy some levels and make some adjustments because I think I didn't put familiars on some of these champions. Yep. I'm just going to put familiars on them because I don't want to be distracted too much by this. All right. So, usually I give Volanya the mage hand because she does that bitch slap thing. So I will give Paulton Stinky. And Makos can have Makos, Beholder, and Tyrol. Fairy. Yeah, that seems fair. Alrighty. Cool. Oh, here we go. Moonbeam, please. Always Moonbeam. Always Moonbeam, always. Because, yeah, it's so good. It's so good. I'm just going to leave Black Viper highlighted. All right. So as much as I like the new art, I would miss the current art styles. Yeah, that's fair. I have no idea if that's a feature that the team has in mind when they're going to approach this, but I can flag it for a note. Oh, excuse me. Just to make sure that it's something that we keep in mind. Alrighty, James Sec. Any plan to add the favorite increase percentage encounter to the mouse and keyboard interface? That kind of falls into the same category as what we've learned developing the gamepad UI and what we want to bring to the mouse and keyboard interface. Because yeah, there's a number of things that we thought of that we just did, a little bit better. So that's certainly something that we'll take in mind. Thor's Valor. Any plans for new event familiars? Well, that would be spoiling. That's a really good question for when Chris is on stream, because I'm not quite sure on how he wants to approach that moving forward. There's a few things to think about with it, and yeah, I don't want to give a bullshit answer. So let's see. I haven't had Black Viper for very long, so as sneak attack is awesome, but I'm gonna go collector because I want those gems. I feel like there might be a chance that collector might always be the optimal choice, so I guess we'll have to wait and see. Alrighty. Jackal's Groove. On reporting crashes, are there any known updates through Steam issues that specifically cause file integrity issues? Every time it updates, I have to run file integrity to get it connecting to Steam successfully again. I don't know. I mean, if you're talking about verifying the integrity of files to get things to update properly, it's how do I phrase this in a way that works? Because it could be, long story short, it could be a whole lot of different things. Some of which just are like the internet, which is kind of hard to explain in a way because I lack the dev knowledge to explain it properly. But yeah, I don't have a good answer for you, Jackal's Groove. It's kind of one of those things where, like, I mean, it could be your internet connection, it could be some kind of bug. If it's something that you've reported to us, like, be sure to include things like, what else is your computer doing at that time? Obviously the basic stuff like what operating system you're using, basic specs for your computer, that kind of stuff. But like, what programs are you running? And like, be honest, like, we're not going to judge you for what you're running, but lots of different interactions can cause lots of different things, and the more information we have, the better. Because yeah, that sounds like a huge pain in the butt. And I hate to think that somebody has to do it on a regular basis. So please let us know. But yeah, we need, context is king. Like, we need as much info as possible. And sometimes it really is just the internet being the internet. The distance from us to the servers to wherever you are in the world. A whole lot of things can happen on that, en route. Cobra King of Urt. I know you want to keep the attention on Black Viper, but is there any chance ever for a full tank-style champion like the main character of the anime Rising of Shield Hero? Maybe they could dual wield 2 shields or a 2-handed shield. Well, yes, we do want to keep the attention on Black Viper, but is there a chance? Well, I guess the thing for me is, because we're very much focused on characters to adapt from the Forgotten Realms lore, champions from different novels, because there's a lot of them, and then also, like, we work with a lot of content creators, whether it's the cast of Dice Camera Action or the cast of Inc. the C Team. We work with people to put stuff together, and so, like, to my knowledge, I can't think offhand of any character that would fit those criteria off the top of your head, which, like, somewhat slims the chances of seeing that. We do occasionally make our own champions. I mean, we did, maybe 3 of them last year. 3? There's what? Zorbu, Narak, and Warden last year, I think. And then Stokey and Grama before that. And Krond. So I think that's all of them. Anyway, so we don't make a lot of them, and we kind of look at what we don't have every time we do. So, I mean, there's always a chance of a full-on Captain America style shield champion, but off the top of my head, we don't have anything like that in our plans right now. Let's see, Mirks. Do you know the drop rate of gold chests from bosses? I ask because Kelenvor's blessing increases boss chest upgrading by 2%. I believe the by 2% brings it up to 5%. I don't have that information off the top of my head, like, as accessibly as I would like, because I know Justin answered it on stream one time last year, and that was the only time the question has ever been answered, and I'm pretty sure it was the 2% increases it to 5%. Total, but I could be wrong. Somebody in chat who has a better memory for this kind of thing than I'm looking at you, like Garwar or Giant Dwarf, or Mars Silisa, who was in chat at that time and logged that information, because I think that's correct, but I can't remember. But Justin did say it on one of our streams. Yeah. Crazy Big JJ. Is it a glitch where focus on the core and start strong blessings have 0%? I reset and it still had at 0%. Focus on the core and start strong blessings have 0%. I reset and it's still at 0%. I mean, I don't know what's going on in your game, Crazy Big JJ. Like, it's my ability to do tech support for anybody who's in chat is going to be severely limited by the fact that I'm not somebody who answers tickets for the game, but also like there's a lot of context to what's going on for you in your game at that time that I don't know. I don't know what adventure you're doing. I don't know what kind of, you know, like I don't know what could be causing a bug for you. So is there a glitch? There quite possibly is. And if there is for you, and you can, you know, do your best to log the context of what's going on as well as possible, and then submit an in-game support ticket, because you know, what adventure are you on? What area of that adventure? What are the champions you have in your formation? You know, what are the purchases, the blessings, etc. Like, we need as much detail as possible. So, yeah. Let's see. The Impish Rogue here, yet again. Is there any chance to get a Quawasha and Weed as new champions in the game? There's always a chance. Quawasha is a really cool druid. Yeah. Giant Dwarf. I was there and I was confused by the answer Justin gave. Yeah, me too. I swear to... My brain keeps going back to, like, the plus 2% brings it to a 5% chance for a silver chest to become a gold chest off a boss drop total. But that doesn't mean that it's a 5% chance for a boss to drop a gold chest. It means that for each silver chest that a boss drops, there's a up to 5% chance that it could be a gold. And that's after you have the blessing. But, again, yeah. An hour to kill. Been quite a while since I've been able to make a stream, and longer since I've been able to ask a question. So I'll try to make the question itself brief. Rust monsters when? Also want to buy 1 point. Well, welcome back, An Hour to Kill. Thibbledorf Puent is a good character that we like, that may join the game someday in the future. Rust monsters. Do we have rust monsters coming up anytime soon? Let me think. Maybe? It's funny because the monster list, like, so Chris writes the monster list when he's putting together adventures, and then the individual monsters get assigned to like Michelle or whomever is helping Michelle out with monsters at that time. I swear we've made rust monsters, but I don't know if we've had them in anything. So I'm not sure. Maybe? I mean, it's almost an inevitability that we will go through basically everything that's in the monster manual and the Volo's Guide to Monsters and Mordenkainen's Dome of Foes and so on. Just because, like, we make a lot of content for a D&D game. We've made hundreds of adventures and variants at this point. And, you know, we're going to turn 2 in September. If this game's around for 5 years, we will probably have made everything in the books. So we will probably inevitably see them, but off the top of my head, I don't know if we're going to see them soon. Krennic. Let's see. Krennic. Rather than avoid answering spoilery questions about new designs for characters, can you tell us any fun designs you had to abandon and why they didn't work? So I had, I contributed to the design of the Black Viper and Polton, and in both instances I did not create a perfect design, and Chris and Justin looked at them and iterated on it and made them better. So, for example, Black Viper's Jewel Thief, for me, it was a lot more simple of an ability in that the first idea of it was that it would... it would give you a percentage chance to dramatically increase the amount of gold that drops from a boss, and then it would also possibly give you like a red jewel, because like in her key art and in Viveka's cosplay, they have, there's like this red jewel necklace, and so I was trying to do something tying to that, and like I was thinking about the idea of like, maybe she can increase the percentage of gems that drop from a boss. Like you kill a boss, maybe she increases it by 1 or 2 or 3 or something. And that can't really work in the sense that like it has an impact on the economy of the game, like the way the game is designed. And if let's say that Black Viper, every time you kill a boss you get 2 more gems than you did before, well, like that brings your possible number of gems of a boss up to 30 from, I think 28 is the current max. You're doing gem farming long term. That's a lot. It adds up. So, it's kind of like maybe too game-breakingly strong, even though it might not appear at first glance. So that kind of stuff. you know, that was something that didn't work. I'm trying to think of everything else, because like inevitably the design of the champion is always so much better by the time it gets to the game than it was in our first versions, that I'm trying to think of what else, because quite frankly we ended up with better ideas. That's the one that comes to mind first. Initially, Black Viper's sneak attack was tied to kind of how you might expect it in the game. Like, she could only sneak attack enemies that were attacking a champion in your formation. So enemies that are just walking up, she couldn't sneak attack, but if they were in melee range attacking your tank, or they were firing arrows or whatever, she could. And like, while that is a little bit more in line with what you would expect in an actual 5e D&D, it wasn't great in terms of how it functioned in the game. Like, her automatically sneak attacking an enemy the first time she sees them, and then having ways that she can get additional ones makes more sense, and just fits into the game better. And the distracted foes, where she gets a stacking buff when her allies are being attacked, is just so much better than the way that I had it before. So I hope that gives you some of an answer, Krennic. Mage Pie. Barrowin's Hammers and Farida's Hellish Rebuke are positional abilities that Archon cannot usurp or bulk up. Was this an oversight or done to keep the game balanced? It was not an oversight. Archon can only steal abilities that he is eligible for. So if a champion has an ability that they self-buff, or it's like, you know, Farida does a thing, he's not eligible to steal that because she's doing it. So this includes like Kron's Survival of the Fittest. If he's adjacent to Archon, he can't steal it and get that. Good lord, that would be insane good. Same thing with Farida's Hellish Rebuke. Barrowin's Hammers, especially, like, her Blessed Hammer ability is like, whenever Barrowin attacks, she gives a buff to the champions around her. Her attack is a self buff. The hammer stacks that she puts on the adjacent champions is not the formation ability, so it's not a formation ability that Archon can steal. So it's not an oversight, but it's not an oversight by design, but it is a bit of an oversight in that we could probably do a better job of explaining those interactions, and differentiating between formation buffs and formation abilities, and, you know, make the language around all of it clearer. I'm not quite sure how to do that yet, but it's certainly something that we could look at working on. Croxic. Are there any plans to implement 1% Shaggy as a playable character in Idle Champions, or would his implementation break game balance? That will be a very good question to ask when we have Matthew Lillard on stream on March 14th. Because he will be joining us then, and we will certainly be talking about Shaggy. So Croxic, if you're around, March 14th, tune in and ask Matthew Lillard. Let's see. Willow's Watcher. Since Rosie Beestinger was revealed / shown in the Dragon Plus magazine that released yesterday, can you tell us anything about how she will be implemented in-game? I'm trying to remember what's actually in the Dragon Plus article, because the Rosie's design was not finalized when the article was sent out, and so the bits of information we gave about her design were the things that we were most certain would make it. And I'm not sure if that is still 100% the case. However, what can I tell you about it? I could say that Chris, Alexis, Kat, and myself were on the call with Kate Welch to talk about Rosie Beestinger's design a while back. And, And it was a wonderful conversation because Kate Welch is, quite frankly, wonderful. She's amazing. And there were a lot of ideas around the identity of Rosie and how best to represent her in the game. And I'll tell you, the last version of Rosie that I saw, keep in mind that this is not a finalized released version or a tweaked version or even one that is, you know, ready to go out by any stretch, because I don't know, things can change. But the last version that I saw was a champion who would be competitive with Tyrell in slot 10. That's about all I can say. Mirror the Mad. Question any word on saved familiar formations. That is something that we want to include in the game as part of a quality of life update related to formation saves and familiar save locations, and then familiar functionality. So, yeah, the word is yes, we agree. We're looking into it. I don't have an exact ETA, but I believe, and this could change. This could change, so remember that. But I believe it is intended to be one of the quality of life fixes that comes mid-March. It may not make the cut because, you know, we got a lot of quality of life fixes we want to put in, so we'll see. Sylvan, what is the name of the champion top of the second column from the front? That is the Black Viper, who is currently highlighted on my screen to bring extra attention to her. Yeah, the Black Viper is our latest event champion, available as part of Fleet's Way Gear 2. Yeah, chaotic, neutral, human rogue. Yeah, she might be a super OP DPS champion. That remains to be seen, but she's got a kit that is very, very powerful. Yeah, her Aura of Infamy ability, which is her slot 3, I think, item. The mask, yep. Has a lot of potential because it increases. She can increase the potency of the buffs that she's receiving from some classes, which is, well, that's strong. What can I say? So, yeah, I think that long term she'll be a champion that players are building formations around and using a lot. But yeah, that's the Black Viper. Gliding Secret. Paulton's Edgy doesn't work in that spot, does it? That's a good question. I haven't checked yet since he got it. So one of the things that's interesting about Edgy is that, like, you need to be along the front edge, top edge, bottom edge, or back edge of the formation in most cases for it to work. And so I think you're probably right in that, like, the spot that he's in right now probably doesn't work. He would work in the spot that Volanya is in, but then Black Viper wouldn't be receiving his buff. So let me just double check him right now. All right, Magical Secrets. By 6,000% for each champion that is adjacent. 2.43. So no, it is not currently triggering Edgy. Have I unlocked Edgy? Oh, I haven't unlocked Edgy yet. So I guess we'll wait and see. But I suspect you might be right, Gliding Secret. I think that might actually be the case. Just hold the head. Is there a reason why the mob pictures disappear after a short time of playing? So that's an interesting thing. That's not a bug that I personally see on a regular basis, but it's something that we get reported from players, depending on different contexts. I can't give you an answer for why it's happening, because if it was a bug that we 100% knew, it wouldn't exist, because we would do what we can to address it. But yeah, I mean, if this is something that you're seeing on a regular basis, when you submit a support ticket, well, I should probably actually fight this Kraken. Shields, stuns, burn. Oh man, die faster. Ah, you're toast. You're stunned now. We got you. Anyways. So yeah, just hold the head. It's one of those things where when you submitted a support ticket around seeing this behavior, what you're playing, what else is your computer or tablet or device doing, what information about your device, like if you're on iPad or something, like which iPad model is it? Because we see a variety of things come our way based on the different iPad models. Certainly we saw a lot of interesting stuff when OS 12 came out, because that created some new issues that didn't exist before that, or maybe did exist but were tolerated. I don't know. But yeah, it's that could be a lot of different things. Just hold the head. So yeah, I don't have a definitive answer for you. Oh, why that buff? Let's let this farm keep going. Let's see, Dwome. Why don't you use the definition for edge that everyone thinks when they hear edge, and why isn't that definition made clear in the game? Wow, okay, that's nice phrasing. I have a response from David about that, actually. Let me just look up what it was he's said, because he gave a more definitive answer about it, and I want to make sure that I'm saying it properly. There's a tech issue related to it that is not something that we can necessarily address. So let me just have a look. Right, because I get asked this question pretty regular. It was asked during the Q&A. Okay, so the edges are the front, back, top, and bottom of each column. So it's based on the column, right? So that would mean that, you know, the position that Celeste is in right now would count as an edge, or, you know, either of the positions in the front row. But his current position, he is not near an edge, I don't think. And so apparently it is a limitation of how we are able to calculate what is and what isn't an edge on each formation. And so, like, it's possible for us to go in manually for every single formation and every possible spot where Paulton is and have it built out to look at it that way. But like an inside circle doesn't necessarily count. Anyways, it's a technical limitation at the moment, and isn't likely to be something that changes in the near future because it would be very, very time consuming. Why are you promoting gem runs more with Black Viper's mechanics when you keep saying, you in quotes keep saying, we can't have nice things because we get gem farm too much? Well, I've never said we can't have nice things, Giant Dwarf, but thanks for putting words in my mouth, I guess. Why wouldn't I promote gem runs? I mean, that's what you do. Like, what do you know, you're farming favor. You're, you know, farming gems. Gem runs with Black Viper's mechanics mean you're getting red gems, which make Black Viper better, so you want to be doing that. So I'm not sure I understand the statement. Let's see, Mirks. For a bonus weekend, have you thought about switching character slots, i.e. having the ability to have Bruner and Kithris in the same formation? We haven't, because giving players access to multiple champions in the same slot, especially when it's like slot 1 where each one of the 3 is a strong support buffing champion, would be extraordinarily difficult to balance. Extraordinarily difficult. And so it's like, it's unlikely to happen. Yeah, it's just not something that's likely to happen. Deny counter. Are there 5e character sheets for any/all the characters? There aren't necessarily. So everybody that we worked with, all the content creators, the cast of DCA, the cast of Backing the C Team, etc., they would provide their 5e sheet for us. There aren't 5e sheets for every lore-based character in the Forgotten Realms novels. When we put Dritz in the game, there was not an official 5e character sheet for him, I don't think. I'm pretty sure we were using stats from one of his other versions. Because he hasn't appeared in a printed 5e anything yet as a character sheet. Dritz to Erden, you know, the CR 4000 Super Ranger Rogue Fighter, whatever he is these days. So we don't have them for everybody. In the cases of lore, book-based characters, Wizards provides us with the stats. So. Just as an example, like I remember when we first launched, like people were asking us why our Minsk has the stats that he has, and it was because of a very specific version of Minsk that was given to us. It wasn't necessarily the one from Baldur's Gate 1 or 2 or whatever. I can't actually remember now which one it was supposed to be, but those ones are provided to us. So. And then in a couple instances, we'll make them up, whether it's for a character for us or, like, I think the stats for the Bruner that we have in game are based off the player's handbook version of, like, how to make a character, and, like, they use Bruner as an example, and so our stats are based off that one. Would you ever create an expansion or separate game that utilizes other D&D worlds like Eberron, etc., more than the current dip into Ravenloft? Um, that's a good question. Being idle champions of the Forgotten Realms, it's actually pretty hard to justify us deviating out of the Forgotten Realms very much. The exception being a like a dip into the pocket dimension that is Barovia, and it being based on the Curse of Strahd book, which is a published 5e book, made it possible for us to do that. Eberron is unlikely, and other worlds are also extremely unlikely. Just like named characters from those areas are unlikely to also come into the game. Now that being said, the door is open a little bit to us in that, like, obviously we have one Warforged in the game, and there's always the possibility that we might get more characters or races from outside the the Sword Coast, Forgotten Realms, Faerun world, but it's not something that's likely to happen very much. Giant Dwarf follow-up. Get her red gems. We go for more gems since gems only drop with gems. And we've been told we can't have supply chests or event champions for any amount of gem costs. Well, yeah, that would... I think that... What's the best way to put this? So, if we made, like, purchasing of, I don't know, potions, something that you could do with gems, with the way that the game is right now, gems as a currency are a little bit too easy to exploit right now. So, what would we really be releasing to players at that point? It's kind of one of those things where, it's gems, unlike time gate pieces, are determined by players playing, and a lot of that information, as I understand it, is player side as opposed to determined by time on the server, like time gate pieces, which drop at a set rate. So if we wanted to make it, and this is kind of the big thing, because we've never said definitively that no, we would never do these things, but if we were going to make it so that you could purchase things other than silver and gold chests and familiars with gems, we would have to make changes to that system as a whole. So, that's kind of it. Like, it's a big thing. It impacts the viability of the game. Like, anything that is in any way tied to the monetization of a free-to-play game can impact the game's viability, and it's not something that we take lightly. I get that there are free-to-play players who, want to be able to earn more, and want to be able to spend their resources on other things, or they've got 600,000 gems and nothing to spend them on, and while purchasing greater amounts of chests at a time and opening more at a time will make things easier, and we have quality of life improvements related to that. It's like right now, it's kind of one of those things where some serious changes need to be considered and possibly made in order to address things, in order to do that kind of thing. So I'm not surprised that it's probably frustrating for some players, but supply chests are supply chests are a thing that we can't just give them out. Like, I know it'd be nice for everybody to have way more potions that they could get with gems, and then they could gem farm for more and script them or whatever, and then spend that on supply chests and keep doing it. But I don't know that that's would be healthy for our game in the long run. So Venison Bacon Bits 1. Why do chest codes not work on mobile? Long story short, as short as it can possibly be, codes that can give players DLC that could bypass the store for the Google Play Store for Android, the Apple Store for iPad, the PlayStation Store for PlayStation 4, or the whatever, the Xbox Store, etc. Anything that bypasses those storefronts are strictly forbidden by those platforms. It's part of the license agreement to be on those platforms. You're not allowed to do that. And And it's not to say that it's impossible to get some kind of DLC codes to do those things, but as a process, it's something that is, fundamentally like chess codes as they exist for Steam, for Steam users, like the one in the corner up there. Those kinds of chess codes are not something we are allowed to do on those other platforms. That being said, we have put in a proposal and had it approved by all the companies involved that I just mentioned, for a different kind of system to add to PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Apple and Android tablets, to have a system in place that allows you to do a similar function. And I can't give any information about it. It is still under development, but we put in the proposal last year, and it took a while to get it approved, and it's something that we are working on now. I don't have an ETA on it, but believe me, like since we first launched on tablet, like Q1 last year, I think, this is something that's been on our minds that we've been trying to address, and we are only now at a point where we're actually able to. Mage Pie 3, is there a way to reverse the order the specializations pop up so that they are queued up behind the ones that pop up first? Oh, so like, first in, first out instead of last in, first out, like the way that they pop up when you have familiars leveling everybody. I'm going to make a note for that because that's a fantastic quality of life change that we should be looking at. Because yeah, that's obnoxious, and it's something that's been obnoxious for a long time. Hi, could we hope some reward every time we get Steam's 100% success completion? Kuranons, I'm not quite sure what you mean. Yeah, I really don't know. I don't know what that means. I mean, especially since, like, obviously we're always releasing more achievements and stuff, but, like, you get achievements. Achievements increase your damage. Like, I'm not sure what else you're expecting. I'm a little confused. Since sneak attack is integral to the identity of the rogue class, any chance that other main rogue classes champions get some manner of sneak attack? That's a great question, and it's something that probably not. I mean, you're right. It is integral to the identity of a rogue in 5e. I mean, your damage per level is based on being able to sneak attack, and making sure that you can sneak attack, like, in order to just function. Like, that's playing a rogue in 5th edition. That said, I don't know that it would make a lot of sense for our game to have every rogue have the same attack. Like, every rogue does sneak attack. Well, okay. That kind of, like, it would start to homogenize our champions in a way that wouldn't really be that healthy for the game. So I don't know that that's going to happen. I'm not saying it can't happen, because we're looking at a lot of possible ideas on how to further build the complexity of the game and create more meaningful end game play. So I mean, maybe this is something that could happen, but it's not something that we're currently looking at. Colette. Extra Dexterous has a very enjoyable mechanic. Any chance of similar variants in the future? Absolutely. Oh god, it's 2 o'clock already. Cat's waving at me. Yes. Yes, come in, Cat. I'm like so deep in this Q&A. Just like, was it? Questions. Yeah, lots of questions. I will welcome Kat to the stream as she gets set up and gets headphones and mics and all the things, gets things ready. Yes. Let me know when you're going to start trying to use the thing. I shall. Anyways, so we're glad you like it, Colette. I will make a note for Chris that you liked it because it's really cool. I haven't even played that variant yet. I thought about doing it on stream, but I wouldn't pay enough attention to it to really enjoy it doing it on stream, whereas at my desk I can do that. So that's what I will do then. I will shift this over and give you some more room. And yeah, and you can turn this if you want once we get the thing switched over to the other thing. Alrighty, are we getting Grandmother Night Rosie or C-Team pretending not to be super powerful Rosie? I mean, I'm pretty sure it's no secret that Rosie Beestinger is both the leader and the main DPS and the main badass on the C-Team, so it would be important to do that, wouldn't it? That would be kind of the way to approach it. I'm just going to scroll this down a bit. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put them over here so I can keep looking at them while you're drawing. So, a blank canvas. What are you going to draw?
I figured I would try and draw the Black Viper.
Oh, that makes sense.
Am I coming through it all? Oh, that.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, I forgot to push that thing up.
See, mics have to be on for them to work.
It makes a difference. This one is like, you know what? Yeah, somebody like Chris or Clive was in here because it's adjusted a foot lower than it normally is.
People touching your stuff, Dylan.
Yeah, always. Whenever I'm not here, basically. Anyway, so I'm gonna keep going through questions, and I'll let you.
Okay.
Yeah. Use a tablet that you don't use on a regular basis, so it's probably
yeah.
extra awkward.
And when I was setting this up earlier, it still goes over both screens, so I have to use like this little corner.
Oh, what?
I couldn't find a way to fix that. I probably could have asked Adam, but I forgot.
I have no idea. Oh, excuse me.
So if I can just like scoot this over a little bit.
Oh, good. Yeah. I'll move the mouse.
Yeah.
This is why I say we're in a streaming closet.
Yeah. And hopefully this will kind of work. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll just lean over here.
Yeah. Anyways, let's see.
We'll figure it out. Yeah, so there's no room for reference or anything. Also, hi, chat. I just came in. I did see Garwar said hi, so
yeah.
Hi, Garwar. Yeah, there's no room for a reference of any kind on all of the nonsense that Dylan requires for streaming.
No, hold on. I can do something.
Yeah?
Yeah. You know what? I think I can actually minimize this. Oh, I should close that too. And what I can do is I probably have a window open on that side that I could use. That one. So this is one of the ones I actually need to pay attention to usually. So I will just put this over here. It's good. It's saying that everything's working. And then oh wait, actually, what am I doing? I don't even have to do that. You can just do an image search. Oh right, literal black vipers.
Lovely snakes.
Do we want one of the ones? There's the key art. There's Vivka's cosplay. Actually, this one, maybe.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, I think that one was shared by.
All right, Twitter. It's fine. It's just a sketch.
Yeah. So now you can see it.
All right, perfect.
So what was it? Dave Moody, any chance event formations can one day carry over to timegate save formations? You know what? I think that there's some inconsistencies in how that works, and I'm not quite sure on why. Because I swear to God, sometimes I have I pull open an event, and I have saved formations in the timegate already, and sometimes I don't. So I probably need to follow up with someone like Chris or David about that, because you would think that every time you save a formation in a timegate, no matter what the event is, it should save that formation, and it should, in theory, also be the one for the game. So that'd be a good quality of life change if we haven't already looked into that. Arkansas Seeker, any small spoilers you can give about the new or possible ways to earn event champion gear? No. Yeah, features related. Future features are things that. One of the reasons why we hold back I'm not going to answer that question, but I'm going to explain why not. One of the reasons we hold back answers on questions like that is because we don't have a locked-in, done, like semi-near a state of completion version of that ready to go. So, like even when I was just talking about the quality of life stuff, like we know we're going to talk to players more about the March quality of life update soon, either at the end of next week's stream or as part of the stream after that. But they're not locked in yet. Like we have a pretty long list of stuff that we want to get done, and we'll see what gets done in time for that update. And when it comes to things like features, like they're being iterated on right up until launch. And so to talk about any of it in advance would be possibly setting up players to be really disappointed in what ends up coming to the game, because maybe something that they were hoping for doesn't end up making the cut. So rather than do that, you know, I could say that, like, you know, we want to include more ways to do it, and that we have ideas on how we want to do that, but I don't have anything that I can share officially. So that's really it. I know it's a non-answer, but I mean, at least you know why it's a non-answer. The mom unit. I love that Black Viper, at least to me. Seems a bit chubby. It's nice to see different bodies. Well, I'm sure. I don't know how to address that. You know, it's.
Well, I mean,
does she look chubby? I haven't really thought about it.
We can say that, you know, she was based on Vivid Vivka's body type.
Yeah.
Which specifically, I remember Chris being pretty emphatic about, like, wanting to do that because it's different than a lot of others that we have.
Yeah, the key art in the book is like in appearance like a much like taller, slender character, and this one is, you know, curvier, and yeah, it's cool. And the costume that Vivka made is so good.
Yeah, it's
so good.
And all the many angles of reference art and such was really great for us artists.
Yeah. Let's see. Gliding secret. When you have 6 familiars on the battlefield, all distractions are supposed to be killed. Why doesn't this work with spiders? It should. So if it's not working with spiders, that's somebody's fault, and I'm pointing at the camera. I don't know who, but that's somebody did that wrong.
Somebody's gonna take the blame.
Yeah, no. One of the things about them, though, is that they're only available to be killed at certain times, so it might be in some way tied to that or some other thing, because, like, they're one of the distractions that, like, you can't touch them, and then they just, like, pop out briefly and then they disappear. So yeah. Let's see. Variants where you can only use all the champions from a given slot, like a 1 variant per slot. Oh, so, like, you could do the variant, but only with you know, only with slot 1 champions. That's an interesting idea. Yeah, I think Chris might like that idea. He might not. I don't know. I suppose I probably shouldn't speak for him. When you get a second, I need to scroll down through the questions.
Oh, go ahead.
Let's see. Oh. Okay, I just kind of did that one, so we're good. How can I farm more than around about 1% of the favor I have currently? 1E 10 gold found, and I'm able to defeat the boss 205 without farming long, but my gold find increase is so slow. It sounds to me like you know, Smoker D player. If you have an ideal formation set up, like you have a, you know, like a top tier meta formation, 205 isn't super far progression, so it sounds to me like you probably need to be purchasing more blessings to increase the power of your characters so that you can push further. And, like, blessings is a kind of a hard balancing act of how much to spend and how much to keep at a time. There are a lot of schools of thought on it. I generally defer to Garwar on all things like this because Garwar puts really good guides together, quite frankly. My rule of thumb was always that I would never spend more than half of my favor on a blessing. But even then, like, honestly, that's high. Like, spending more than, like, 10 or even 25% of your favor is a lot to spend. So, yeah, it's one of those things where you kind of just need to be spending on it. And then, like, you know, getting gold chests until all your characters are in purples, and, you know, getting your item levels higher, you know, helps. And there's like kind of a lot of stuff. Like, it's definitely grindy, but if you are maxing out at only being able to earn 1% favor and, you know, clearing up to area 205, like, many players are reaching 350 plus right now. So, you know, while part of that is gear dependent, part of that is formation dependent on all the champions and stuff that you've unlocked. Yeah, purchasing, earning all the what do you call it? Blessings is an important part of that. Hellastream. Given that the next campaign, for Idle Champions isn't Ghosts of Saltmarsh, is there any chance that Saltmarsh might end up in Grand Tour? That's a really good question that I can't totally answer. Maybe. Power Sorter. Power Sorter. Is it Power Sorter or Powers Worder? Is there an upper limit to the bonuses you get from red gems for Black Viper over all adventures? There currently is. If you pull up the Idle Champion Spotlight on the Black Viper that went out on Tuesday afternoon, there is a list of the current upgrades you get. The most important upgrades being like 10 and 50 or something red gems. But it caps out in the many thousands of gems right now, which is something that players aren't likely to reach anytime soon. But there is a limit. Like, it does eventually stop. Now that doesn't mean we will never add more, but there is a point at which there are no more. Silisa. On console, the messages appear backwards and you can't read them. For instance, when you return to a completed adventure, the "you have been offline" message is behind the complete adventure message. When you press the button to continue, it cancels the behind message and thus you can't read it. That sounds okay. That sounds like I need to make a note for Peter, because you probably sent me PMs or messages on Discord and I just haven't been at my desk for the last couple hours, so I haven't been able to look at it. But yeah, I will bring that to Peter.
Do you want to make a note?
Yeah, I should. Erica sometimes does it when she has a moment, but that is Peter with a Z. Yeah, that's something that I need to look into. Alrighty. OG17, is Viper scaled as intended in game? She seems small, or maybe it's her head. Yeah, no, she's to scale. But one thing to note about the to scale nature of the characters in our game is, if you're hardcore into D&D, and why wouldn't you be? You're on this channel, and so are we, because we all love D&D. The size difference between PC races is pretty significant. Like Goliath being 7 to 8 feet tall, all the way down to halflings are what, 2.5 feet tall, I think?
3 to 4.
Are they?
Yeah.
I thought dwarves were like 4.
No, I was just looking.
Halflings were smaller.
I was just looking at halflings and gnomes, and they were both 3 to 4 feet.
Yeah, and then firbolgs are freakishly tall. We can't have that kind of size discrepancy in the game represented because we need characters to be visible kind of behind each other as the way the formation works. So we're, while Donar and Archon are bulkier and bigger like a Dragonborn, they're not enormous like a Dragonborn compared to our gnomes and halflings that are currently in the game. So yeah, there's a bit of fluctuation there. It's not one of those things that we can depict as accurately as we would like. And then on top of that, with just the nature of the game, the same thing goes for monsters. We have an adolescent Kraken in the game, because putting an actual size one would be too big. Anytime we've had dragons in the game so far, they're enormous. They take up so much screen space. You don't get to see more than a quarter of them. They're just how they are. So can I just double check one thing? I want to make sure that all of this is broadcasting the way that I want it to.
Yeah. Make sure they haven't been staring at a blank screen or nothing.
Yeah. Oh, thank God. Okay. Because, yeah, that'd be awkward. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so yeah, the Viper is scaled as intended for our game. But yeah, there's only so much we could do about the size differential between the characters in the game. Evil Emperor Zerg, I noticed the event favor doesn't convert 1-to-1 to Torm. What's the reasoning? You have to earn enough event favor to get that conversion. So yeah, you need to increase the amount of favor that you farm, because the reason it doesn't do 1-to-1 is because you can do better than 1-to-1 if you play an event enough. Players are now approaching the point where they can do 2-to-1 conversion, which is to say they can almost triple the amount of favor. No, they can double the amount that they have, but they can almost triple the amount that they have, which is super nuts. So yeah, it doesn't convert 1-to-1 because it allows you to multiply the amount of favor you have. Chuckle style. Any chance for randomly generated variants for those of you who have completed all available ones? Anything able to report on being able to replay variants? I can't report anything on it except to say that that is something that is important to us and is tied into a future features for the game that someday we will be able to talk about. Someday. But not Q1 this year. Maybe Q2. Probably maybe Q2. It's a little ways off, but it's coming. Let's see. A specific question about Cthulhu. Ooh. Is the demon buff actually reported in the incoming effects of the champions which benefit? Because I don't see it. Bug? So do you mean when the shadow demon is there in the formation increasing their damage? I'm assuming you're not meaning his positional formation buff. You know, I don't know if it does or not because I've honestly never looked. So yeah, sorry, Real Sadhar. There's something to be said about the fact that we have some inconsistencies with which blessings and formation abilities and buffs show up in the incoming effects part of champions and what doesn't. And it's been the subject of much discussion of late because, you know, we want there to be more clarity of communication with players in the sense that, like, when you look at those things, you should be able to make those determinations. And, you know, in some cases, we're making it unintentionally a little bit harder on players than we would like to. I mean, we want people to have to think about what they're doing, but we don't want it to be indecipherable. So yeah, I'll just make a note about that, and maybe it'll get addressed with the quality of life fixes. Giant Dwarf request. Any chance we can get more levels of Torm's Tier 1 Divine Blessing with only 9 champions? 9 champions gains in the campaign are rather limited compared to the other campaigns, even with its permanent nature. You are very right. And I don't know if that's what they're planning to do with the next tier of blessings for Torm, because, you know, we added some levels of blessings in the other campaigns at the same time when we did the most recent update, but it's always possible. Yeah. That mask is cool.
Thanks. I want to say that because we've changed the streaming computer and all these other things, I came in to fix all sorts of settings, and I thought I got it good. It feels real bad. So I'm not entirely sure what's off. It could also just be because, like, I haven't come on stream for a while, and at home now I also have a Cintiq, so I haven't used a tablet like this for several months.
Yeah.
So I might just not be.
Well, you definitely get used to whatever your regular thing is. I mean, I have a hard time playing video games on any setup other than the one I have at home.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't build a gaming machine so I could play on somebody else's.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I find it goes so far that, you know, I am so used to the way everything looks and feels that even though I have the same mouse at my desk that I do at home, so, like, technically the DPI is identical and it feels the same,
Mm-hmm.
I still can't aim with it here because, I mean, yes, my home computer is faster and, you know, more, you know, better video card and, you know, everything's clearer and all that stuff, but, like, it's crazy how much of a difference that makes when it's something that you're used to.
Mm-hmm.
So I can only imagine when you're drawing something, because, like, you know, there's a lot to it.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
There's also, it just occurred to me that, like, quite a while ago there was this big, I think it was an update that Adobe did that fucked with the drivers of most tablets, and you had to go inside some deep options to fix things, which obviously I've done on my computer at home and then the computer here. So if that's still a problem, obviously it hasn't been done to this one.
No, I put the drivers on this 30 seconds before I asked you if you
Yeah.
wanted to tweak it. Like, I just did a search on the Wacom site for that model of driver.
Yeah,
Just downloaded it, and that
like
was it.
normally that should be fine, but that was a long time ago. I don't know. I could also just be making excuses.
Well, there, when I after I installed it and I got you, there was the screen that's like, update driver, update available, and I'm like, I'm not clicking on that right now because this is working. So it might have been addressed.
Maybe
this could all be my fault.
It's okay. It works. I'm not promising a masterpiece, but it definitely feels weird.
When you get a second, I need to scroll down.
Oh.
It's all good. Oh, yeah, we're basically through the questions. Sweet. Speaking of monster sizes, did the frost giants actually get drawn with heads, and can we see them? They did, yes. So the frost giant was the end boss, the Area 50 boss of the Festival of Fools variant, introduced. First champion to have armor, which players did not like for Strix's event last year. So he'll be making an appearance soon. But they do have heads. I should grab one. Yeah, we can share one of those.
Yeah.
Let's see. Shout out to the art team. I love champion art, and also just realized the sheer volume of assets for mobs and variants. Yeah. I mean,
it's so much better now that the game has like a lifetime footprint, I guess. There's so much stuff that we can reuse, and we're not always scrambling to do 30 monsters in 2 weeks.
Yeah. And just like, I'm pretty sure Michelle has basically been drawing monsters nonstop for like 2 years.
Just
now.
about, yeah.
Yeah. And it's just crazy. Let's see. Are these art tools the new Artificer features? I don't. So, did they release the Unearthed Arcana for Artificer yet? They were going to do it this month.
I don't know. I haven't seen.
It was the last day of the month, so like either they did it this month or they're not going to. But I forgot to check because I remember they said that it was coming because they'd iterated on the last version and they wanted people to check it out.
I don't know.
I would like to check it out.
Honestly, the last time I thought about Artificer was when Tyrion Darrington was on Critical Role, so I have no idea.
How long ago was that?
Oh, a long time.
Yeah. Huh.
A campaign ago.
Yeah, because like the Artificer and the Mystic are both missing from 5e, just straight up as classes. Yeah, God, I liked playing Mystics. Or what they called? What was it called? Mystic. What am I thinking? What were they?
Psionic?
Psionic. That's what they're called. Yeah, my old Eberron game, I was a Psionic. I was like a monk who was becoming unhinged at the ridiculousness of the world after leaving their monastery. Yeah. Anywho, maybe you should tell players about your epic character moment that we ended our office D&D session with today at lunch, because that was pretty sweet.
All right. So I know Dylan has talked about that we play D&D at lunch, and so we finally gotten back to Curse of Strahd after what, more than 6 months or something.
Oh, it's probably closer to like 8 or 10 months.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Anyway, we finally got back to it, and we've sort of put in a policy of like, if we're only missing one player, we'll still go play, which has helped things quite immensely. So today we were at Yester Hill, and we had left off the session from last week, where the gnome druid Big, who used to be played by Clive but got gifted to Nick, he was lightning bolting the evil tree, which I think is the Gulthius tree.
Yeah, meta, it's a Gulthius tree.
Yeah, we didn't really figure that out in character, but you know.
No, our characters don't know what it is, but as soon as it popped up, I'm like, oh god, not one of these again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was lightning bolting that with Call Lightning, so, you know, last 10 minutes, it was going for a while. But that called the attention of a pair of wolves that had been sitting around being suspicious that I kept an eye on, with my character Dara, who's a Dusk Elf monk, who I started playing after my first character, Tethys, Water Genasi cleric, died to Strahd in Vallaki, which was also a very epic, heroic moment, which I think you've probably talked about before.
Oh yeah, no, we left Vallaki in much worse shape than it was when we got there, which is saying something
It is.
in the Curse of Strahd campaign.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't handle it well. We fucked up.
Yeah. Anyway, so these two wolves turned into Strahd and, one of them turned into Strahd, and that was where we ended the session last week, with everyone panicking because, oh god, it's Strahd. And so this session, we start up immediately rolling initiative. A bunch of hobo druids, as we've been calling them, and like berserker sort of dudes showed up around the big statue, not the tree, but the big statue in the middle of the hill. I'm sure people who played Curse
It's like
of
a
Strahd.
viney statue that it's like an effigy of a vampire, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure people who've played Curse of Strahd probably know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
And so I, being a dusk elf with history with Strahd, immediately rushed at him as soon as it was my turn. Your reaction was great, by the way. You're just so blown away that I would immediately do this. Like, it's so funny. Anyway, cue a very short little, like, hand-to-hand combat thing where for each of my attacks, Strahd basically got a counterattack.
Mm-hmm.
And I went down in that single round because he hit me each time, and I only had, like, 44 health.
Yeah, you got like a few hits in.
I did.
Yeah.
I my first hit was a natural 20, so that was kind of cool. Yeah, and then everybody sort of very torn between just like running and doing something. Big still trying to get rid of the tree. Now Dylan and Alexis's characters, Veshok and Morgana, trying to focus on the druids, who seem to be doing some sort of like ritual.
Yep.
Which Strahd was invested in.
And because fuck Strahd, I was like, I'm gonna mess this up.
Yep. So
Yeah.
you did Signing Radiance,
and she fireballed them.
And she fireballed.
Yeah.
Both very good moves for AoE stuff. So I went down, and Strahd, the other wolf, turned into Irina, who Strahd had bitten and had gotten because of Tethys dying months and months ago, and was insisting she feed on the Dusk Elf to become powerful, and she was sort of resistant. And when it came around to Morgana's next turn, she healing word on my monk so that she got up. So my next turn, she's a Way of the Shadow monk. So we sort of have agreed that all of Barovia is basically dim light at this point.
Well, it sure is.
Yeah. Plus it was like, the heaviest raining thunderstorm you could think of. So I just shadow stepped from in between Strahd and Irina to behind Irina and tried to like choke her out with my quarterstaff. Which, worked for a turn, and then she was right after me and squirmed out. To which Strahd was extremely displeased and proceeded to stab me in the eye.
Oh, yeah. And then, like, your DM is like, actually, he stabs you through your face. You're like, oh, all right.
Yeah. But that's okay by me because there was some sort of behind-the-scenes stuff going on. And so Adam being our DM, narrated a pretty cinematic sort of epic scene of, the arrows will blot out the sun, showing up and just raining hell on the little, like, 10-foot square where now dead body of my monk and Strahd and Irina
are very perforated.
Yep. And then, you see coming over the crest of the hill out of the forest, an army of dusk elves, and in the middle a wagon atop which stands a familiar figure holding a mace aloft and glowing with radiant energy, and it's Tethys, my character, so I get to be my lovely cleric again. Yeah.
I'm trying to think, was there anything else going on? Big kept lightning.
I guess there was the nightmare that was running circles around the effigy, just making like a fire whirlwind.
Yeah, doing something. Participating in the ritual.
Yeah. Protecting the druids, maybe.
Which is why I covered them in a sickening radiance.
Yeah.
So melted one of the druids, and hopefully we'll eventually melt the other ones. Mm-hmm. Oh, and I snapped the Gulfius staff to kill all the blights in the area, because there was lots of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I broke my magic item. I guess actually that's not true. I have an axe that's in my bag of holding.
Yeah, you can find out what that does at some point.
Yeah. I mean, Dylan knows what it does, but Veshok's like, ooh, I'll look at this later.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I need to scroll down.
Yep. Ugh. Yeah, so I'm excited to play Tethys again, because, like, when she died, I was a little upset, because, like, it was my first D&D PC death ever. But, you know, she went out in a heroic way, and it was true to character, and blah, blah, blah. And Adam is really into all the, like, drama and stuff, especially as a gothic horror campaign. So basically immediately after she died, I was like, okay, we can figure out how to, like, bring her back. So there's been some stuff that we've done.
Yeah, you guys did some lunchtime sessions.
Yeah, we did some, not quite one-on-one, because Alexis came to sort of be a helper NPC. But, yeah, some stuff has happened. And I'm excited.
Let's see. Real Sadar is like, don't want to make my fanboy, but you are doing really great.
Oh, thank you.
And was that Ralph Sully or RA1 Sully? When is he going to put together a live stream of the Office D&D campaign? I don't know. I mean, God, that's so much work. Live streams are so much work. Oh, yeah. God. I just think about our Extra Life thing and how much work that was.
Yeah. It's like...
and it's fun, but...
It's something that some of us, like, would be into, but from the amount of work and, like, we have to do the rest of our jobs to give you this game, it seems pretty unlikely.
Yeah.
I would love to do it, but...
a lot of work involved.
Yeah.
The majority of the champions hold their primary weapons in their left hand. Is this actually canon or an art design choice so the champion profiles look better? A mix.
Yeah, it would depend on the character. I know for the base 12, we got really specific feedback about who holds what where. I remember Arcan specifically being mentioned.
Well, yeah, he was right-handed until he got the Hand of Ekna. And now technically he would be left-handed. But we have a left-handed Archon who doesn't have the Hand of Ekna, so...
Right.
Yeah.
Then maybe that was the problem. I don't remember. But mostly if it's not a big deal, then, you know, it's like that because that works the best with the art for the game.
Yeah.
But if it's important to the character, we'll stay true to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mage Pie. Oh, no, wait, that was the question I already asked. Giant Dwarf. Opinion. Those are some very nice and soft eyes for Esfel.
I'm not sure if that's good or not, but thanks. I don't know. I have not played much of Dragon Heist, and I never met Black Viper, so... She's supposed to be mischievous, but the thing about face masks is they hide a lot of expression, so...
Yeah. Yeah. And if you watch the Umbrella Academy, you can't really see anything about their eyes in that one. They just look kind of creepy with them. That was a good show. It was just like a epic dysfunctional train wreck.
Yeah.
For, I don't know, like 10 episodes. It probably could have been 8 episodes, though. I find that happens a lot with those shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have more than enough good story to do, like, an amazing 6-episode series. But I guess, like, they get a series order for a certain length, and they try to make it... They try to finagle it to fit that and, like, make sure that they have, you know, cliffhangers at the end of each episode and all that stuff. And it's like they behold themselves to... a
formula?
Yeah, that just takes a little bit away from it. Like, it's one thing I like about, just to, like, not talk about D&D at all.
Yeah.
But, like, watching, like, a British series is they will, you know, it'll be a 6-episode series or 8 or 4 or whatever. But, like, they tell a complete story. And then that series is done, and then maybe there'll be another series, but like they don't approach it in a serialized format the way that North American stuff does, and
Right.
like Netflix kind of does. But yeah, they could have cut an episode or two out of it, and it would have been way better. But it was good. Great soundtrack choices. They spent a lot of money on it, obviously too. Joel Carroll wants to know: do you think that Codename Entertainment would ever consider adding a remote artist that telecommuted?
Doubtful. We've done a couple remote hires before. Nick was originally remote, and then he moved closer. And from what I've heard, basically it was fine when he was remote, but it's just way better with him being in the office.
Now he's in an isolated corner of the office.
Well, you know.
Next to one other person, and they're like totally in their own area.
Yeah.
It'll be even better when we have another office next door.
Yeah.
Like, all right, Nick, you're moving. You're going next door. No,
Yeah.
just you.
No. Georgia won't leave him.
No, it's true.
Oh
If the heat's better in there, I might go over there, though.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, a kind of a chilly spot that's either too hot or too cold.
Right.
I want a just right spot.
You gotta Goldilocks that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say probably not likely, but nothing is impossible.
Idle thought. Boo is a miniature giant space hamster, right? Are we ever going to fight giant space hamsters? I mean, never say never. Trying to think if there's... I don't think I've ever seen a stat block for a giant space hamster, though.
Yeah, maybe bug Chris Perkins about it, and we'll do it.
Yeah.
Don't take that seriously.
Although, didn't Chris Perkins just, like, he tweeted something about, like, these 10-day work weeks, and I'm like, that's a long work week.
Yeah. Wow.
You're not supposed to work 10 days in a row, Chris, is what I'm thinking. But, hey, if it means we're getting another D&D book, kill yourself. Yeah.
No.
That's so brutal. Yeah. I feel like Chris Perkins is, like, such a font of creativity and, like, design that, like, shouldn't he be working, like, 3 or 4 day weeks to, like, try and keep him as healthy and long-lived as possible, rather than overworking him?
Yeah.
No, I'm sure.
I suppose if it's by his choice, then, you know, you can have as many people as you want on the sidelines going, Chris, please, go to sleep. No, I must write.
Yeah. No, I'm sure he's fine.
I need
to scroll the thing.
Yeah.
Oh, there's one question.
Okay.
Alrighty. Vecna influenced Archon variant when? Think about how much fun it would be to have to deal with Archon fighting against Vecna while Tiamat is in the background, yelling at the champions to save her champion.
Yeah, fun.
Yeah, Archon is an interesting character in that, like, our exposure to him was so, like, he's a part of the, you know, Force Grey Lost City of Omu show, and then he was part of the, like, Force Grey one-shot they did at the Stream of Many Eyes last year, but then he was also on Critical Role. And it's like, I assume that Joe just plays him at home or something other than that. But
That's
like,
what it sounded like.
Yeah, I don't know, because I think his first appearance wasn't Critical Role. Somebody was trying to look it up on our Discord one time, and he, like, his first appearance predates Critical Role and Force Grey, but I don't remember what it was on. Anyways, doing a storyline, like any kind of Hand of Vecna related Archon storyline for the game would be awesome. I would love to see it. I don't know if it'll happen, but it would be cool.
I am indifferent.
Yeah?
I don't really like
It's the
Archon.
Hand of Vecna.
Eh.
You don't like heavy metal style D&D characters that look like they're from like a Judas Priest album cover? Because
I mean, that's fine. I don't know. My first exposure to him was on Critical Role. He's an ass. So.
oh yeah, he's a total jerk. Yeah.
That's all.
He stole the hand and like, you know, like
So brutal.
undermined their victory.
Yeah. And he just pieced out immediately. Like
Yeah.
the shock not gone from their faces.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, although I guess there was an interview with Joe Manganiello where he was talking to, I think he was talking to Tito about it on like Dragon Talk or something, or part of the podcast, and they were like, he's like, I guess he had talked to Matt Mercer about it ahead of time. He's like, I think Archon might do this. Matt Mercer's like, all right.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, Matt's the kind of guy that, like, it's your character, and this is how the game works. Like, I'm not going to stop you because it's possible for you to do this.
yeah.
Doesn't stop it from being a jerk move.
No, it's a jerk move for sure. But I mean, you know, they're like characters. They're like right in the end game, right? Like they're
Yeah.
approaching level 20 if they're not at level 20 already.
Yeah.
Do you watch Critical Role?
I've not caught up with season 2.
Did you watch the Search for Grog one shot?
No, I haven't yet. I saw it like pop up, and I was like, oh, I should watch that, but I haven't yet.
Okay, I won't spoil the contents of it, but I just remember there was this part where Sam goes to cast a high level spell. He's like, wait, do I have the spell? I do have the spell. And like the NPC is like, you can do what? Like, because it's like, it's recognizing that like, oh yeah, they're all 20th level characters.
Yeah.
And like they have godlike ability.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I'm 3/4 of the way through it. I haven't finished watching it because Catherine and I were watching it together. So, and tonight's the night that there's more Critical Role on. So maybe we'll get our Critical Role on before we get our Critical Role on, and just
just double down,
overdose on it. Yeah, yeah. Garwar knows what moment I'm talking about. Lauren says that Archon showed up on a Celebra D&D episode as a level 5 character with Keyleth and Percy.
Oh yeah, because like when he shows up in Critical Role, the three of them have that sort of moment.
Was he an Oathbreaker at that point, Lauren? Because that would be interesting. Critical Role sounds like a recalled deodorant. I was not expecting to read that. Joe on Celebrity D&D. Yeah, I never watched those. Yeah, it's weird. The idea of watching streamers play D&D is like still a relatively new thing to me, and it's only something that I've known over the last few years. Because like I didn't really follow Critical Role. I kind of like looked into shows as I was coming on board with Codename and watched the Force Grey seasons to get a better idea of it, especially since all those characters are in our game and like. Kind of getting into it, and I was like, huh. And like having watched live D&D games, I'm like, okay, it is a lot of fun to watch live. The streams vary so wildly in terms of what they're like to watch that pretty much everybody can find one for them. Whether they like the insane dysfunctional soap opera-ness that is dice camera action, or like just the voice acting and like how much time they spend in character on Critical Role, and like every show just has something, so it's pretty cool. The
insanity but also brotherly love of Adventure Zone.
Yeah, that's Scott. I hadn't even heard of that one until Scott Kurtz was talking to us about it.
Oh yeah,
that's his favorite one. Yeah, he loves it.
Yeah, my very first exposure to D&D as a whole was a podcast of 4th edition.
Really?
I was listening to in college.
Oh man, 4th edition.
Yeah.
I skipped 4th edition. I played a ton of 3.5 and I loved it, and I just like the transition to 4. I'm like, I don't like the way this feels as much. I'm gonna play more 3.5.
Yeah.
Which is what I did.
It seems to actually be the consensus.
Hey, well, like they tried some really cool ideas. Like, D&D does have to evolve. It's one of those things, right? Like I wouldn't. If I have the choice between playing 5e or AD&D, I'm going to choose 5e because I can remember how to play it.
Yeah.
AD&D, not so much. As cool as it's not to discount how well made those games work, because they're great. I just I like how easy it is to jump in and out of 5e.
Yeah.
Which I haven't personally felt as much from the other versions. Less stuff to remember. It seems like it's simplified in really great ways, and then DMs, who you're playing with, you just they can make things easier or not. I mean, let's face it, we play with DMs who make things harder. So
yeah,
that's fine.
Everything's fine.
Few things are going to match how badly I've brutalized my home Dragon Heist campaign characters.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're so screwed. They signed an Infernal Blood Pact contract.
Oh no.
That they don't know the details of.
Oh no.
Yeah, like while they were doing it, because I presented the option, and I'm like, one of the characters is a cleric. I'm like, they should know better, right? Like they should stop this. And like as they're all doing it and they're all signing it in blood, I'm thinking to myself, like, I need to keep a straight face, otherwise I'm just gonna bust out laughing, because you're giving me so much to work with. Yeah, and they're the villains they're facing now in the Dragon Heist campaign have strong ties to some infernal beings, so like they have really horrifically made things more complicated in a way that's not going to work out for them very well. And I know they're not watching this right now, so I can say that. But yeah, oh man. On the other hand, as a DM, I was like, that was satisfying. I'm like, they took the bait. Oh my god. Oh god. Like, what do I do?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They yeah. It's gonna be good. They've also kind of gone around Waterdeep and made enemies of just about every possible faction. So.
Well, you did say that they're like the side quest takers. So
yes.
if you're gonna put your nose everywhere, you're gonna either be making friends
15 hours of gameplay was between the end of chapter 3 and the beginning of chapter 4 in the book. If anybody knows the book. Not
15 hours.
Well, I mean, I kind of like, I let them do what they want to do. I give them clues. I, facilitate, and they're like, we want to go here now. I'm like, okay. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, or you could take the clue and like follow it to its natural conclusion. But all right, yeah, you're going this way, cool. Yeah. And like, the first ally they were making was the Blackstaff. Like, they met Vajra in her tower, and like they started performing tasks for her, and then like they didn't speak to her again for over half a year of game time.
Wow.
There was a reason for it, but they fucked up. And then when they do speak to her next, they're like, "Oh yeah, and we signed this like blood contract and all this stuff." And she's like, "Pardon?" And it's like, "Wow, you guys should know better." And also, like, they're like, they're getting frustrated with her not helping them enough. And I'm like, "She doesn't trust you. You guys said you signed a blood contract." Like, she's like, "Whoa, these guys are idiots." Like, so yeah, it's been interesting. Werebison? Wouldn't that just be a Minotaur? Pretty much.
Perhaps.
Anyways, at current max level in Idle Champions, what would our characters be in 1 to 20 scale? That's a great question. I mean, in theory, we scale forever. So, But in terms of the versatility of the kits that we have in-game and like what everybody can be doing, I can't help but think... like, we're not at level 20. I feel like our characters are like level 12. Like, across the board in terms of like how much they can do and how effective they are.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And also, when I made Warden's stat sheet, it was a level 12 character. So, just going to throw that out there. Yeah. Oh, Eric's in chat. This looks awesome.
Thanks, Eric.
What's the point of having such fancy dress if you are supposed to be a burglar? That's a great question, but I feel like...
You know what? You can look good doing whatever you want.
Yeah. Like, Zorro was never lacking for style. The Dread Pirate Roberts was never lacking for style. Or infamy. And, yeah. The Black Viper is stylish.
Yep.
Plus, I mean, she is noble born. She doesn't want to, she's not wearing rags.
Standards.
Yeah. She can wear whatever
Style
she wants.
thief.
Style thief is the name of the giveaway. Now that we have that option, Erica changes it every time.
That's awesome. Yeah. I did wonder why there were so many instances of banana when I got back from the bathroom earlier.
Yeah. And this is like, so what we've been doing for our giveaways lately is just whomever it is, doesn't matter what platform they are on, we can give them chests. I think they're supply chests right now.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Something that they want to purchase with gems, but we can't do that yet.
All right. That is a whole conversation.
It's a hard conversation to have because, like, a lot of the aspects of making a game that's a free-to-play game, like, the game is free. Players do not technically have to pay any money to participate. But at the same time, like, we do rely on the players who do pay money to exist.
We are still a company.
Yeah. And so the economy of the game is something that, like, you can't mess with it willy-nilly. It has to be carefully thought out and designed. And so asking for more options with what to do with the free currency that's in the game is kind of like, that's asking for a pretty big change. So, but it doesn't mean we won't ever do it. It's, it just, that kind of stuff takes careful consideration. Yeah. We're actually approaching the end of the show already.
Yep.
For anybody who was wondering why it sat on rolling for initiative for like 30 seconds instead of 5 seconds like it normally does, like literally when the countdown was like approaching the show starting, I'm like, oh crap, I gotta pee, and I just like bolted out of here and ran across the office to the bathroom that was free.
It was pretty funny to
Yeah.
see like Dylan post in the Mattermost, streams live, and then suddenly he runs across the office.
Yeah, yeah. Because I have 3 open things of fluids beside me that I have been not drinking as much during the stream because otherwise I wouldn't be able to sit still right now. And I'm going to be downing them all right after this. Totally.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was a killer moment in our. I got like jacked towards the end of our lunchtime D&D, and like
Yeah.
I came in here, I'm like, oh, I just want to keep playing D&D.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's that dot coming from?
Well, the monitors are dirty, so that might be it.
No, I think it's on the background layer.
Oh, weird.
There, it's gone.
Yeah. Because
Right.
there was, we get, every time somebody goes up and through, because the roof access is in our streaming closet for some
Right.
reason. And so, like, you have to remove ceiling panels and then bring a ladder in and then climb up through it and, like, hoist yourself up. Like, so if you can't do chin-ups, you can't get through. And, like, they kind of pull themselves up. And every time they do it, all the ceiling panels kind of, like, shuffle and just, like, stuff rains down in here. Like, a fine coat of just cancer raining down on all the... And like I've wiped it down a whole bunch of times, but it's an ongoing issue.
Yeah. Adam is being ominous in chat.
Oh, is he?
Tomorrow he has plans.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be sweet. I was stoked.
Yeah.
Um,
Like I said, I'm super excited to play.
and if Tethys is still a
again.
vampire, Feshok will be like, "Yeah." Even though he looks like the vampire.
Yeah.
Those Shatterkai, they're ugly. Well, unless they're on the prime material plane where they look like any other elf. They have that like weird, haggard, like I've done too much drugs, I'm too weathered look to to themselves. Like
Right.
they're all damaged. Hello stream. Dylan, you were asking about Artificer. It just went live. Oh, sweet. I can't. Lauren, can you please link the Artificer Unearthed Arcana in chat? Because you can link it. Because everybody should see that because it was a cool idea, and every time they get iterated on, they come back better. So I'm excited for that. There it is. Boom. All right, I'm clicking on that right after the stream wraps up. And since it's 2:53, I should probably be doing that right now, anyways.
Sounds good.
Which means I need to access the thing so I can press
Yes.
the buttons.
I have released control.
Yeah, I am assuming direct control.
There is the Black Viper.
Yeah. I have it kind of like on the tavern-y background.
Yeah.
And it only shows Photoshop, so if you minimize that, it goes back to the tavern.
Oh.
Which is kind of neat. Anyways, so thank you all for tuning in. This has been our show for Thursday, February 28th, 2019. Thank you for joining us, for watching, for playing the game, for participating in the community, for just being like super freaking cool, because you're cool. So thank you. And this show exists because of a number of amazing people behind the scenes, including my co-producers Erica and Clive today, as well as our partners at Dungeons & Dragons, Daryl, Allison, Greg, Bart, Pelham, and Satine. And of course, thank you, Kat, for joining me today. We need to be doing more art streams anyways, I think.
Yeah, I'm always happy to come on.
They're
and
fun.
doodle for a bit. Yeah.
Welch's Game Juice is coming up next, unless it's not on the schedule. But I'm pretty sure it is, at least it was last time I checked. And followed by this little-known show called Critical Role at 7. So have a wonderful weekend, everybody. I hope you roll nat 20s.
Bye.